We're going to go outside and get excited. She's a maniac. I'm too excited. This isn't good. Let me take that from you.
I'm a comedian, so I need a banana peel at all times.
Yeah, we can acknowledge. Thank you for doing this. I'm so excited. Yeah, it was really good. We finished. Wait, So today I am talking to a woman who has begun again many times, been very brave. She's always changing, always different. The ultimate feminist, I feel. Yes, I mean, she looks surprised when I say that, but we're going to get into this. Katherine Ryan, everybody. Woo!
Hello.
Woo, woo, woo.
I don't know if I'm giving feminist at the minute.
Well, I'd quite like to dive into feminist right at the beginning.
Trap life. Heteronormative cum dumpster.
This is so interesting because what I love about you is you are half trad wife, half radical feminist.
Okay.
Like, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to you for that.
Oh, thanks.
Because I think there are a lot of people that are a little bit of everything.
That's true.
So how did you come to be so feminine and womanly? I mean, I know your mum was a big influence in that department, right?
Well, yeah. I think a lot of us are juxtapositions in ourselves, and then we want to be the right kind of feminist or the right kind of woman or the right kind of mother or the right kind of business person, and then we get lost in the shame when we can't execute all of those things well. And I think that what I am is just shame-free about all the facets of myself that might be undesirable. So sometimes I speak about times that I did lean into the toxic feminism of the early noughties when I thought that the best thing that you could be was beautiful. You'd have the easiest life if you were soft and gentle and non-threatening. And I worked at Hooters and I did bikini pageants and I went to the Playboy Mansion, and my mom modeled a lot of that, even though she knew it was toxic too. We're from what I call the girl band generation, the like nothing tastes as good as skinny feels generation. So I don't think that that's aspirational necessarily, and neither did my mother at the time, growing up with body dysmorphia and very cursedly beautiful. She knew that that was bullshit, and she advocated being independent and strong, but we still like that stuff. Like, I still want to have loads of surgery after this baby's born. I still want to be pretty. It is a little bit challenging getting your head around aging, getting on the wrong side of 40. Thanks for inviting me on a podcast about middle age. Well, I'm clearly navigating a teen pregnancy.
Do you know what was really funny? I was just thinking, because I've seen you react to the word geriatric pregnancy in, I think it was in
Amused
The Duchess.
Oh, yes.
Maybe. But how funny that is that, what is it? It's like after 34 or 35, something like that, you are a geriatric mother. I remember that myself. I was 39 when I had my last child. And that word was banded around with me, and how funny that is. But how hard, I found 40 harder than 50. How was turning 40 for you?
It was kind of fine because I think I've definitely become happier, more relaxed the older I get. Like, my 40s are a much happier time than my 20s.
Me too.
So, yeah. So, and I see women like you, like so many women. I would see Louise Redknapp in the press, I think around the time of a very public split. And I think she was 40 or something. And I went, wow, like, I think those women are just a little bit older than you. You go, they're busy, booked, strong, gorgeous. They have like friends and freedom. And I think women just that few years older than I am made it really aspirational for me to be in my 40s, and now in my 50s, and now in my 60s. And I think it's changed. If you look at the Golden Girls, Blanche has a line where she's like, well, I'm 34. And I was like, what? It's just about hair. It was about the perm, I think, did women wrong for a decade.
I mean, it was instantly aging, right?
Yeah.
And needed so much upkeep. You'd have to be in the hairdressers looking really ancient with the little rollers and everything. Rollers are aging.
I mean, we're probably doing something like that now and we don't realize it.
Yes, well, in 20 years, somebody will go, oh my God, straightening hair.
I mean, why wait 20 years? We've got teenagers.
Yes.
They'll tell us.
Yes. It's very humbling having a teenager.
Yeah. Everything.
What's the funniest thing that your teenagers said to you?
She's funny. It's tricky with her privacy because I think she's so funny, but I've always been mindful, and this has been the challenge of my work, I think, since she was a baby and since I've had bad relationships and things like that, is to really deliver your authentic truth and tell secrets about yourself, because that's my language of love, intimacy, through like people just telling me secrets and I tell people my secrets. But sparing those who are close to you. So you tell little lies to disguise people whilst delivering a central truth. And I think especially being 16, she should have privacy. But some of the funniest things she says, I can't even repeat because she's really good. She's like a good roast comic. And then she has friendship things that I can't talk about. And she roasts me, and, she has things going on in her life that I would love to tell people, but it's an exercise in discipline for me. I don't repeat her slams.
Do you know what I really like about you? It's a hard and fine line being famous, and you are somebody. I'm going to hold your hands, in fact, and just say thank you.
Barely lean forward.
No, you don't lean forward. You stay there. I'll lean. I have nobody. But thank you for this thing of telling us everything.
I tell you everything.
Yeah, because it is a way of having a deeper friendship with somebody is when you reveal. So what you're doing with all of your followers and fans and everything is by revealing these things about yourself, we know you.
Good.
What you show us.
Yeah.
I know you don't show us everything.
Pretty much at this point.
But
But I didn't think it was very English. I think that's why I was a little bit of a shock on the scene at first.
Yeah.
People were like,
it's not.
why would you say that? Specifically, I think in another interview, I spoke about just some sexual liaisons at work in the aforementioned naughties. And people were like, why would you be proud of that? People get lost in this space of shame or pride. And there are a lot of things that I say about my life and my experiences that I have neither shame nor pride about. I just say them because they happen.
Yes.
And then
I think that lack of shame is something that we look at you and you release something in us by not having the shame around that.
Good.
That why are we embarrassed about it?
Yeah.
Why do you think the Brits are so embarrassed about talking about things? I mean, you've been here for quite a long time.
Yeah. I think the British culture values nostalgia and tradition a lot more than certainly I do. Or Canadians. Like if something's old in Canada, we knock it down and build a new one. Whereas you are more like, don't disparage your family. Remember where you come from.
Yes, that's very interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Whereas I've disparaged my family a lot. That's why I didn't care about giving the children my surname. I've done enough with that. They don't want that surname. I've dragged it through the mud. They can have my husband's very anonymous surname.
Yes.
And live great lives. Yeah.
The other thing I think is wonderful is this idea of you value your children's privacy. But interestingly, Violet's got to her own TikTok, very successful TikTok page, and we can see she's funny on that. Were you surprised by the success of that, and has that made you nervous at all?
Yeah, I think she's always had an awareness of like what putting yourself out in public looks like. Like everything that you publish, and we use the word publish, not post. You publish online is there forever. You have to be careful who you speak to. You have to be careful what you say. Like I kept her off social media entirely until she was about 14, 15. And then we would check her phone. The understanding is still she has a password that we know. But now that she's 16, I don't spot check it anymore.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I believe in that as well.
Good, yeah.
I think children need their own privacy after a while. And it sounds like you have instilled the right thoughts processes for her around social media, and now it's up to her.
I don't know that she would always behave herself, the way she
No.
should on social media. I just have to trust it at 16. I think you have a cutoff time. You instill what you can, and then
I agree.
now she is funny. She's quite funny.
She's funny.
She has this, and I think it's good now that I have the babies, and I do raise them in somewhat of a controversial sense in terms of whatever people want to call attachment parenting, gentle parenting. I do this early potty training. I do things. I co-sleep with them like the dog off Peter Pan. With Violet, she is a good example, a decade at least older than all the babies, of someone who has a very regulated central nervous system, someone who has a real quiet confidence. I don't worry about her. I think if you have a mentally resilient 16-year-old, I don't really care what else she's doing. So whatever I've done seems to have worked with Violet so far.
Well, I think even the idea that you feel like that, it's worked.
Yeah,
You're not an anxious parent because you believe she's okay.
I do.
Yeah, and I mean, that's good.
She's great.
That's healthy.
She's better than I was. 16?
What were you like at 16?
Bad. Davina.
Me too.
Yeah, we were bad. You have an excuse.
What's my...
Well,
my difficult... I guess my mother was quite a difficult person, but...
Having any Frenchness.
Having any Frenchness.
And you know what I mean? Those ladies, they're not the... I think they have a different parenting style.
Yes.
And God love them. I think they... but you had a tumultuous upbringing.
Yes, she was an alcoholic.
Lived with your
and
grandparents.
that was quite mad.
Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. Whatever you navigated, you have come out massively the other side, and it's been great.
What about you
Well,
at 16?
I have nothing because my mom wasn't an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Didn't live with
for
my
God's sakes, I
grandparents.
mean...
There was a lot of alcoholism, though.
But your parents did divorce.
Yes.
And you were 15 when that happened.
Yeah.
That must have been quite hard. What was that like?
Well, a few things happened at once. So for a start, I was not as happy as my children were from the get-go. I was always an artist. Maybe I had like a tumultuous idea of what my life was and who I was, and I was never settled the way my children really appear to be. They're pleased with themselves every day. I would be writing poetry. I was kind of the original Taylor Swift, where
The OG.
Yeah, the OG. Mine was more like bars, but like writing hate songs about unrequited love and just really feeling trapped, not liking being in a small town.
Yes.
Writing letters like, nobody loves me in this family. And I just didn't feel like the people in charge were qualified to look after me.
When you talk about the people in charge, are you talking about your parents?
Anyone, my parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, I was like, these people don't know what they're doing. I need to get out of here. I was always like very autonomous.
What type of parenting did they do? Did that shape your parenting? Were you like, I don't want to do it like that?
Well, I think my mom was a really, really, really good mother, a really hands-on, very smart, very devoted mother. But there was an angst with her because my mom, if anyone thinks I hate men, have a chat with Julie McCarthy. That woman, she will not, you won't get 5 minutes with my mom where she's like, well, 98% of all violent crime, like that's my mom. And she's not wrong. That's where I get it from. But she grew up in quite an abusive alcoholic household, I think I feel at liberty to say. And then she married young, and I think probably married for the wrong reasons. My dad was fine, but my dad was older than she was and Irish and very traditional. He had just moved over from Cork, and everyone in my small Canadian town was like, this man is tall and exotic, because no one had come from anywhere.
Right.
So they didn't really know that an Irishman born in the 50s wouldn't be an incredibly,
In touch with his
with his
self.
right.
Like, yeah.
So I think my mom was expected to work full time, have meals prepared, be a beautiful, and she was a trophy wife, like she was really beautiful. And but that's not who my mom is. She's like spicy and smart and challenging, and yeah, she's a lot. But I'm also like my dad. And then so I had a really happy childhood, lots of musical theater sisters.
It's fascinating how our upbringing and who we are surrounded by and the energy that they bring, how it affects our development as women. And I think one of the things that I have loved about you is, and now it's so clear why that's happened, is this sort of dichotomy of I've see you so well presented all the time. You always look absolutely glorious. I can't tell you how brilliant you look pregnant. I was a disappointment to myself. When I was pregnant. I was dungarees and Crocs. I mean, I don't ever wear Crocs, but I gave up when I was pregnant and I just went full Croc.
Crocs are back.
I can't do it.
Okay.
But that's who I am. I was dressed up person.
Yeah.
I went through a parenting season and now I'm back in my dress up season.
I know.
And that's what's quite nice. Like, I think we should all allow everybody to go into whatever season they want.
And thank you for that, because your outfits are really inspirational and they bring me joy. And I think you can look at it as a service to your audience. You're like, this a bit for me, but mostly it's for you. Because when I look at you, I'm the Masked Singer especially, that is full glam.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I love that.
You're giving permission for lots of women who might still be navigating a season where they don't feel like they can be their full selves, or they're told by someone toxic that it's, mutton dressed as lamb. That's something early doors my dad used to say about my mom.
I've definitely had that.
It's rude.
But do you know what? This is another quite nice thing about getting older that you have to look forward to.
Yes.
And I think maybe you have a touch of it now.
Botox.
No.
Oh.
But yes. But I enjoy annoying people.
Yeah.
But I see people looking at me like
in the street.
On the tube in particular. She's white. And I think, get annoyed. I love it. Because I think there's almost like a pleasure. I don't know, how do you feel about winding people up a bit? You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Look like that.
I certainly don't go out of my way to wind anybody up. And in stand-up, if I wind someone up or if I hurt them or they haven't got a sense of humor that I anticipated they might have about something, that does make me sad. I've hurt people's feelings, celebrities' feelings.
And what? Oh, celebrities.
Just like slagging them off. I've got a special coming off at Christmas that, might upset some of the Love Islanders, but I don't mean to be hurtful. I'm just trying to be funny. You're not going out of your way to wind them up either. You love that look.
Yes.
And then you think here's the thing, you're still entertaining people and that's your job. And some people really want that sense of community where they slag something off that they all know in common. It's very tribal, actually, to be tribal. You see Davina and they all know you, so you become someone in the village that they know. And they'll go, well, she's da-da-da. And they get a sense of entertainment and release from slagging you off, maybe in their, Tupperware party. I don't know what they're doing. But that's fun for them.
But it's never bothered you.
No, because it's still an act of service. It's like, my job is to entertain you. And if you want to take entertainment the way I deliver it, then that's great. But if you want to take a different route and still have some fun at my expense, I don't mind about that either. It doesn't bother me at all.
So how did you have thick skin?
Yeah.
And I feel like this is something that many viewers of this podcast will go, please teach me how to have thicker skin. I wish I could get less offended or be less hurt by things.
I know. And I even have one sister who hasn't got it. And so I have tried to explain my process a few times and it either hits or it doesn't. And that sister has been through divorce and navigating co-parenting and moved to the other side of the country. She's had things that are big things. And so I'm not really sure why she cares at all about what people think.
So do you think it's the experiences that you live in life that make you thicker skinned?
I would think that, but then my sister wouldn't be so sensitive. She's just born a little bit more earnest and sensitive than my other sister.
Which sister is she?
The middle one, Joanne. Yeah, she's just always been
But it is interesting, the order, because what I thought was fascinating about your story
Mm-hmm.
was that your parents split at 15,
Yeah.
but they actually just didn't speak to each other. It was a bad split.
Yeah.
And that you ended up kind of brokering the custody deal. I mean,
Yeah.
for a 15-year-old, that's a
know.
lot.
Well, yeah, and getting back to that, I told you when we first started speaking about the divorce, lots happened at the same time. So
Yeah.
being 15 is difficult.
Yes,
Yeah.
in itself.
And I know girls hit puberty at like 9 or 10 now, but I didn't until 15. So I had puberty. I was also pointedly ugly, like orthodontically. It mattered a lot at that time. I just wasn't an attractive 15-year-old, which they all are now because they've got makeup tutorials on YouTube. But I was like a hideous 15.
And braces at 10.
Yeah. And I knew it. So I was like, I didn't have the body that I wanted, which was all saints. I didn't have like the teeth that I wanted. I was getting braces on and off, and my eyebrows were crazy.
My eyebrows were
Our eyebrows
crazy.
were crazy. And that troubled me a lot. I think, again, because I had the values and I had this beautiful mom who just got more beautiful in a toxic way because her divorce made her very thin.
Right.
So thin, like a size 6, but still with huge boobs.
Right.
And only 40.
Mm.
So like still looked great. And then my boyfriend split up with me and both my grandparents died.
When you were 15?
All that year. It was the death of my grandmother that prompted my mom to finally leave my dad because she'd been unhappy for a long time. And then when my mom initiated the divorce, my dad resisted again for traditional, I think, cultural, religious reasons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shame in the Irish Catholic community with divorce anyway. And the divorce was great for my dad. He has a partner now who's so much more well-suited to him.
Oh,
But
so your stepmom?
yes.
Tell me about her.
Oh, she's great. Cher Bear. She's called Cheryl. She and my dad golf together. She likes looking after him where my mom didn't. She's like a real caretaker. I think again in birth order, she's like the youngest daughter and she's just so caring. Younger than my dad. He likes
How
them.
much younger?
Not too much younger.
Okay.
But on the subject of younger, when my parents divorced or during the split, I'm not sure what the paperwork was at that time. My mom started dating a 22-year-old. He might have been 23, but I think he wasn't. He was 22. He was 22. And Abe the Babe, who's from the Mennonite community. That's why his name's Abram. That's also why he's like...
What's a Mennonite?
Oh, it's like Amish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which means that he's like ripped and very straight edge, like doesn't really drink alcohol, been vegan from birth, can build a house.
Wow.
Yeah, really sexy. And my dad didn't like that.
No.
And no one in the community liked that.
No.
Because at that time, I don't even know if Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher...
Right. So there was no other public figures who had that big an age gap.
No, it was giving cougar, MILF controversy.
It's really interesting how people struggle with women, older women and younger men.
A lot. And they had an 18-year age difference. And that was really controversial in my small community. And again, it's like high school when you grow up in a small town. And there were adults who would stop me on the street and be like, your mom, like to slag my mother off to me. I was 15. And be like, what do you call him, your brother? And I'd be like, oh my God. But to me at that time, I was not impervious to shame or criticism.
At that time? Okay.
At that time, everything was kicking off in my life. I was like the ugliest girl in the town. I had this really hot mom who had caused me, as far as I could see, controversy and shame and also loads of responsibility because my dad stonewalled her completely. Stonewalling was really his thing.
Yeah.
Before we knew it was toxic. So just never spoke to her again. Like he's never said a word to her really since. I don't even think he's said hello since. And that was, how old am I now? 42? Like almost 30 years ago. He spoke to her. Yeah. And there have been weddings. They don't speak. So I had to just navigate getting the girls here and there and passports. And if
you did all of that,
well, I was the go-between, like the little, which was fine because I actually appreciated people treating me like an adult at that age, but it was probably not age appropriate in retrospect.
And that gave you an armor? do you think? Was it?
Maybe not yet. Well,
Or did it start the process?
started. Because when you talk about enjoying annoying people, as much as it bothered me that my mom, in my eyes at that time, through just living her authentic life, had put me in this position where I became a target in my community and people were making fun of me. Adults I didn't even know were making fun of me and making fun of my family. Deep down, I knew that they were wrong and it did annoy me. And I thought, good. Like I liked that these old men in the town were angry with my mother. I think it's secretly, I knew it was cool.
So that's fascinating. That's when it all started. There's a part of you, I feel like, as a parent, and please tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm making huge kind of like decisions about you. Yeah, assumptions about you.
Yeah. You'll be right.
But I feel like, a bit like me, well, my idea with parenting was that I want to make young adults who will leave home and never look back. And actually now that they're all doing that and they're not fucking looking back, I'm like, hello, just once, like look back once, like I didn't. No, but what I'm trying to say is I don't want somebody to be clinging onto my leg, terrified of going out into the big wide world. The idea is I build a confident young adult who's like, I want to go see the world. Is that what you've wanted to do with your kids? Or are you scared about empty nest? You know, you're nearly there, like 16 is...
Yeah. Well, I don't want anyone to leave on bad terms or prematurely. I do have fear about that because I want everyone to, I'm concerned that maybe I create a situation where they can't leave because I am very indulgent now. And my husband's like, you're sort of chopping them off at the knees. If you pay for everything and if you facilitate everything and you make it too easy for them, like, don't you look back? Because my husband and I have known each other since that age. He is the one who broke up with me when I was 15, 16.
Yeah,
during everything else going down.
In a minute, because he's a legend.
But he remembers that and he has struggled and I have struggled at times. And he's like, don't you want to gift them that? And I think to myself, yes, but then I give them the credit card and I never discipline anyone. So I don't know. But I do get this. And my husband identified it for me because I used to joke about it when she was younger and there was no male energy around to tell us what to do. I'd be like, oh, we're not like a mom and an 8-year-old. We're like 2 8-year-olds, but one of us has cellulite and a credit card. That's what it was like. I was like, we can have everything now. And I hate to think that she might not be able to afford something, that she might be at a register and be like, oh, I can't afford that. For some reason, that makes me anxious. I don't like that.
And have you ever been pulled?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
I think so. I think you go one way or the other. There are people who grow up financially insecure, or they have a period. I didn't grow up financially insecure, although my parents didn't buy me anything, but that was just normal in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
They were fine. I didn't have to worry about like food. But when I moved to the UK was the first time that I was super financially insecure. And I was coming off the back of quite a successful life. I was always the smartest in my class. I was good at the musical theater. I was funny. I had friends. People expected a lot of me. When I worked at Hooters, I was rich because I was a really good waitress. I kind of went from being good at everything and then moving away from my hometown at 19 and being financially solvent and having this beautiful condo. Like I was a rich 19-year-old because of tax evasion and waitressing. Those days are gone. There's no cash anymore. But then I moved here and I was really poor and I hated it. And that was probably shameful as well because I couldn't just go back home with my tail between my legs.
Yes, okay. You had to make something of it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh gosh, what have I done? And I very quickly became a single mother in a foreign country in a bad relationship with no financial support from my daughter's father at all, which I learned early on that he was not going to be someone that I could rely on for that. He's like too woo-woo. But I went, oh, Christ. And that was not a good feeling. I didn't like that. And I certainly didn't like that as a mother. And I was lucky to turn it around quickly. But I do think I have like financial anxiety about any of my children going without.
Well, because
Even though I know it's formative and it's important. And I look back on those years really fondly, I can't do it.
I mean, I can't imagine what that would feel like. I was very lucky. I had children when I was financially solvent. I was on Big Brother, and I basically gave birth on Big Brother practically 3 times. And I knew that they were going to be okay when they were born. But the idea of having a small child and then not having money to be able to look after her, or being frightened about how you're going to provide, it would shape your life, right?
For the better, I think. But that's why Violet's my favorite. And I say that.
Oh my God, wait, stop, wait, what?
Yeah.
You can't, what?
I say it all
Do you know, oh my God, that is so funny. My kids are always going, who's your favorite? Or they make up ideas of the...
Yeah.
But like, I have never said any of my children are my favorite. That is amazing.
I can say it. Violet's my favorite. She's the firstborn daughter. But I think people don't like that. That's a very provocative thing to say as well.
No, I love that.
Say that. And I don't worry about it hurting my other children's feelings, because I go, those are Nepo babies. Like, guess what? She's my favorite. You get to go to private school. She's my favorite. You get to grow up with a dad. Life's not fair. She's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense in a way, doesn't it? Like, they have privileges that she doesn't, and she has a privilege that they don't.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you take your tea, Davina?
Milk, no sugar, and a scoop of A and B TC, please.
A and B what?
It's Ancient and Brave True Collagen, the sponsors of our show.
Yeah.
When you're born, your body's stores of collagen are full, but in your 20s, it starts getting less and less each year. So now is a great time to start supplementing, because it affects so many areas of your body. Hair, skin, nails, connective tissues, and Ancient and Brave, whose collagen I have been taking for years, is literally top shelf. These formulas are rigorously tested. But you know what really sets Ancient and Brave apart? It isn't just their amazing product, but it is their commitment to sustainability. So 1% of their sales, which they've just brilliantly upped to 2%, goes to environmental causes. So if you want to give this a try, go to ancientandbrave.earth/planet and just use the code BEGIN again to get 20% off. Result.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
I want to talk about Bobby, because Bobby came into your life. He'd been a partner of yours at school. Had you dated at school?
Yes.
Yes.
Very heavy.
Okay.
First love. I loved him. I always loved him.
Wow.
Always. I really loved him at the time. I think energetically, it's interesting because you only have what is it called? Confirmed bias. When you think you remember something, but you're remembering like an adult version of what you think you remember. But at the time, I think because of the tradition of our community, and like his sisters, some of them married the boys that they were dating in high school, and his parents
Wouldn't be crazy if you did.
In our
right?
town, it is not crazy. A lot of my girlfriends are married to the guys they were with in high school. They're not happy. They read a lot of, erotic fiction. But
God bless the erotic fiction.
they're making do. They got a nice house. But it would not be unheard of to marry your high school sweetheart. And I met Bobby, and I loved Bobby, and I thought we were going to get married. And then he had the more worldly view of like, oh, well, we're obviously not going to get married. We have lives to live. He wanted to focus on football, and I wanted to like go off and do these things. And I thought, well, no. What do you mean? Like, and he's broke my heart. It was a very serious relationship. We got back together a few times, but then ultimately.
It's really hard, isn't it, the get back together bit?
Yeah. And when you're a teenager, everything's so amplified. So that's why I'm like, did I love him, or was I going through puberty with my first love? I don't know.
So he attempted to reach out to you over the next while, didn't he?
He did.
I love that. Like,
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
I was waiting.
But, if you did love him, and you always loved him,
Yeah.
why didn't it rekindle in those first times when he contacted you? Or were you like, no, you don't get to come back? Like,
he wasn't explicitly trying to come back. Also, it wouldn't have made sense. He had a life in Canada. He married someone else. They didn't have children, but he married someone else. And then I made a post. Well, I thought he was a red flag. My instincts were probably right. He probably is, like most men, a massive red flag. But I commented, oh, my first love got married today. I guess my husband and daughter tell me it's definitely over now. It was like a joke because I wasn't married, but I had Violet. And the joke was like, oh, he's moved on, so I guess it's done. But I had this family.
Yes.
It was like one of my first tweets, I think. And he responded, 50% of marriages end in divorce, Katherine. Who comments that? That's a red flag. But their relationship by then was on the rocks, I guess. But yeah, so like he was doing reached out another few times, but I just thought it wasn't a tangible thing. It was flirtatious, but I was like, yeah. No.
But then at what point were you like, yeah?
Well, he started behaving in late 2018 like a single man online. So we had mutual friends because we grew up together, and I know his sisters, and I saw his online presence. My sexually frustrated girlfriends who've married their high school sweethearts, they actually highlighted to me on the group chat, have you seen Bobby's Instagram? I said, no, I don't follow.
God bless the girlfriends.
Yeah, because they had seen Bobby's Instagram. And I was like, no, I don't follow Bobby on Instagram. So then I followed him, which was an interaction, I suppose. And I noticed gym selfie after gym selfie, like some real, the behavior of a man who was single. And then I went to Canada that December to film Who Do You Think You Are? And we hadn't spoken. We still hadn't spoken. I just watched his Instagram stories a few times. And for some reason, I knew that if I posted on my Instagram that I was going out in Toronto that evening with my sister, that he would come. I just knew he would. And I just posted, oh, I'm going to this place with my sister tonight. Anyone have any recommendations? And he turned up in the pub.
And he just turned up?
Yep.
He didn't message you to say he was turning up?
He had messaged like, why don't you go to this other place? But I didn't go there. I was like, I'm not going there because I was going to this place with my sister. So he did send one message, yes. And then he came to the pub, and then we had a one-night stand that went horribly wrong.
Oh, no, why?
Because now we have all these kids.
Oh.
That was not the game. I just thought it would be funny to shag him. And it was funny.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did you get pregnant?
No,
like,
well.
Very quickly?
Yeah. We were married 9 months later. And then, yeah. But it wasn't my intention to do that because I really did enjoy being single. I did.
Wow.
And I never fancied myself as someone who would be married and live in this nuclear family. But yeah, you just were really still in love, I guess.
And wait, what was that first night like then? If you were back with somebody that you really love, that you physically knew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really good physical chemistry with him.
Really?
Yes. And then, I mean, like, I don't want to take it to,
no,
but to be like getting off with someone when you're a teenager.
Yes.
I don't think a lot of women have orgasms. I don't think they do.
No. And
I was like, what? It shocked me. I was like, what is this boy? Yeah.
Yes. That's chemistry.
Yeah. And then I never really did again until we were back. So yeah, he's like, we have sexual chemistry. And then also I just left him, and he messaged me the next day, which I don't know. I've not really been on the dating scene, but I don't think boys do that. And he was just no nonsense.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to have kids and get married. I feel like, and a man, he was 35 and I was 35. And a man was like, I think I've missed out on that because I'm 35. And I was like, what? Haven't you met men? You could be 95 and start your family with some like catalog model. And he was like, no, he's very sensible and traditional and not a pedo, crucially. You know, he's like, I want to have a wife and a family and a house and kids. And I worry sometimes that I've missed out on that. And now I know why I hadn't done that, and I want to do it with you. And so I think when people are dating at any age, older, younger, I think they're encouraged to hold back, to play games, to be coy. And Bobby was not. He was like, yeah, let's do this as soon as we can.
What I like about the story about you and Bobby is that you are both small town originals. Like, you started in a small town, and you have that brilliant combination of kind of slightly pining after a slightly traditional life, and that is a shared value that's really a big one.
I think it's really beautiful when different cultures come together, and I think it can work, and it's amazing. But Bobby and I are from such a similar culture, and when I say culture, I don't mean Canadian or white or anything like that. I just mean you can have a culture even existing in your home.
Yes.
We went to the same school and grew up on the same road, and we have all the same friends. You know what I mean? Like, we are culturally, in a way, very similar, that it did make for a lot of easy shorthand. It sort of made me understand arranged marriages and things like that, because when you have such a similar background, there are so many things in your marriage that you just don't have to discuss. There's not, because I've dated people from different faiths and different backgrounds and different countries, and that works for people, but you do have to negotiate. And we don't. We just kind of read each other's minds. We are brother and sister, potentially.
Soulmates.
It is a worry. Yeah, we've got so much in common. Grandparents, yeah.
And so you guys got together over in Canada, but got married, and then he came back here, and he lives with you here.
Yeah, we got together in Canada. He came to London to visit on like a tourist visa. Then we got married in Copenhagen at 11 a.m. and I went to work that night and did a gig in London.
Wow.
We didn't have a wedding. We just like went to a courthouse, and then we live in London with our kids, with our 45 kids.
Yes. I mean, you've got 3 and one more on the way.
Overdue, Davina.
Overdue.
Yeah, they won't let me go past Friday.
Now, hold on. What date is it today? Oh, no. Okay. Because there's a full moon, but it's not until the beginning of November.
I cannot.
No, you're not going to be.
No.
So they're not going to let you go past Friday. Induced on Friday?
Yeah.
God, I am so lucky to be talking to you today.
You're not.
I am. I'm going to take that.
I was going to make
privileged.
Today. I would have come regardless. How cute would it have been if I had a newborn and we could have this chat and you could hold the newborn and I could be drunk.
Oh, you could be drunk. Oh, my God.
Oh, well. But we're having this fat chat instead.
No, you look absolutely glorious. And I'd like to talk about the way you felt about yourself, because you have mentioned a couple of times. When did you decide that you were going to... I know that we talked about sorting your teeth out, and that was something like one of the first things.
Which everyone did. It was just like, normal type races,
In Canada and America, you were it was the British teeth situation was a joke with Americans.
We did, yes.
For many, many years, you'd look at like British people and go, what the heck? But nowadays, I think we've all kind of got into all kids get orthodontics and braces. But when you got your job at Hooters, you were 19. Can you just explain to anybody that's watching that's British that might not know what Hooters is?
So they do think it's a topless restaurant, and it's not. It is very much like being a cheerleader. We have sports on TV and beer and chicken wings. And because I was a corporate trainer, I can tell you the entire introduction of Hooters. It was created in 1983, just like me, by these guys in Florida they were businessmen, and they had a secretary, the original 5 they were called, and they had a secretary who would run for exercise, and she would wear socks, like sports socks, and little orange shorts and a vest. And she was very all-American and open and friendly, not sexual. It wasn't like a stripper. Nothing to do with like sex work. She was just a wholesome girl who was sexy to them. And that's what they modeled the Hooters girl on. And then they added the tacky branding of the owl. I tell people I worked in an owl sanctuary if they get too judgmental about it. But it's not a strip club. And if it were, we're very positive about sex work now, but it wasn't. It was kids eat free on weekends. And what I loved about Hooters is that it was a brand I recognized. I wanted to be that kind of secretary. I wanted to be the kind of wholesome, bouncing young woman who men went, oh, isn't she lovely? I thought that was a place where I could learn that, but I didn't. I was still this, like still mouthy and still provocative. And there was a comedy club next to the Hooters, and that's where I would go, and that's where I started comedy because I kept getting in trouble at Hooters for my smart mouth. I was fired like a few times for different things, just having just things like that, just accidentally causing political upheaval in the restaurant.
And again, I think this is all contributing towards you having a thicker skin. So when you got fired for this kind of thing, how did you feel? Were you like horrified?
Yeah.
But also like, oh well, or were you
Not oh well. I
No.
cried and cried and cried.
Did you?
And not because I was fired, because I knew I'd weasel my way back because I was
you'd hurt
such a
someone.
waitress. I never wanted to hurt people. And I was so mortified that I didn't like to be in trouble. Again, male energy. This boss screamed in my face and was really cutting like to the core of what I knew was wrong with me. He was like, why are you so weird all the time? Why do you have to say stuff like that? And in front of everyone in the restaurant, he goes, not everybody gets it, Katherine. And that has been the soundtrack of my whole life. Not everybody gets it. I know. I'm like an acquired taste sometimes. That's why we love you. Well, that's what ended up being my strength.
Yes.
Even looking a little cartoony and having a long face ended up being, no, I do. Jimmy Carr taught me that. He goes, all like successful entertainers have a bit of cartoony thing about him. And with Jimmy, you would say like teeth and Lego hair and the suit. And what's yours?
My nose.
Your nose? You have a
My nose.
lovely nose.
Yeah, I love my nose.
But it's
like
not a
people
nose
call me
job
puffin.
nose. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And all the tools that you try to throw away when you are assimilating and you just want to be invisible and young. That's, again, what's powerful about being middle-aged and plus is you recognize, oh, those were my tools. All those things I tried to get rid of to assimilate are the things that made me special. Yeah, so he screamed at me in my face, but I got my job back.
So I'm just thinking about Katherine, 19, Hooters, enjoying being a feminine, people appreciating you, probably making quite good tips,
Great tips.
making good money, feeling the confidence of that.
Mm.
I, as a young girl myself, I can fully appreciate how you felt. I wanted to be feminine, look nice, the clothes that I would wear clubbing. You know, I wore those for myself, and for the entertainment of other people, like look mad, wear outrageous outfits, be controversial. Look at me, look at me. I was I was a peacock.
You would have been a Hooters girl.
I would have totally been a Hooters girl.
Yep. We were all very like-minded.
Yes.
Girls who, and we created this matriarchy where there were men who would come down from the office and yell at you every once in a while. But day to day, we were kind of untethered. We ran the restaurant. We were smart. We collaborated. I got to spend all day with women.
Yes.
The men at Hooters weren't that lecherous at all. Like,
No,
I'd worked in other bars and restaurants where they were worse.
I was going to say, if you wanted to be lectured at, you wouldn't work at Hooters, or you wouldn't go to Hooters because it wasn't that kind of bar. I've been to America quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I've been to Hooters, and it's not that energy.
I was lectured at more walking from college to Hooters than in Hooters.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But yeah, all the girls there were really fun and layered and quite smart and just different. Maybe from small towns and came to the big city and just wanted to hula hoop and golf caddy.
Are you roughly the same age?
Yeah. We were all like late teens, early 20s.
Wow.
You were not really allowed to work there beyond that.
And a real solidarity.
Yes, they're still my friends. I'm still in contact.
Really?
Yeah. They did a reunion that I couldn't go to because I was here. But my sister went.
Oh my God.
My sister worked there. Yeah. It's good. It was a sisterhood.
You talked about the comedy place next to it and that you'd gone there. But did you go there first and see some comedy and think, wow, this is amazing? How did you decide that you thought you could have a go at that? Because I think, am I right in saying you were 20?
Yeah.
I mean, that feels to me, when I think about my daughters, 22, 24, unbelievably young and brave. Like, talk about a begin again, Hooters, and then going to stand-up comedy. It's like, wow.
Well, one thing about moving from a small city to a big city to begin again is you're totally anonymous. I had never been anonymous. So it was the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your town to do something extraordinary, everybody would know.
Yeah.
But when you move to a town, a city, suddenly it's like, no one knows who I am. I can be whatever I want.
Right. And the last thing I was famous for was my mom's controversial relationship. And if I had done stand-up comedy in my town, first of all, I don't think it existed. But secondly, people would have been out for blood. You know, I would have been ruthlessly made fun of. But when you go to this big city, and it was so multicultural, and it was amazing. And so it was the opposite of seeking attention. It was like, I'm going to try to do this thing that I respect. I'd only seen it on television, maybe a few times live. I'd seen stand up. And also I knew that, well, I want to be a good girl. At that time, I didn't want to be a comedian. I wanted to be a Hooters girl. I thought I might open a Hooters franchise one day. I didn't know what I would do. I was just navigating being 19, 20. So I thought I will exercise my demons at this comedy club. It will be fun for me. I'll do it anonymously. I never told anyone I was doing it. And it was fun. But then I ended up finding a tribe there who were the alternative comedians, the like queer community in the comedy club, the very few women in the comedy club. So it was cool.
I mean, let's talk about how few women there are in comedy. I mean, the stats are crazy, I think.
Yeah.
The number of female comedians there are in comparison to men. Why do you think that is?
I think it's changing now because all comedians are having to enter the circuit in a different way. So they're coming through on social media. They can make videos. And I think that is a great equalizer. I think social media is very democratic, really. A young woman or, you know, a person from a different socioeconomic background or, any mixed ethnicity person kind of has a similar chance because there aren't any gatekeepers with social media.
Right.
It's just if you get a following, you get a following. And then commissioners on their sinking ship that is television, they're like, wow, get these influencers on the panel shows that are remaining. But in my day, I think it was almost dangerous to do the circuit in the way that men could do it. So they would take night buses and they would earn very little money in the beginning stages of carving out their career. And they'd be out late at night. They'd be walking late at night. And then if you get a little bit more known, then you publish where someone could come kill you on a Friday night.
Right.
Like, it is quite vulnerable to be like, hey, I will be walking around the back roads of Cambridge at 9 p.m. Come kill me October 17th. So I just think women are more hyper vigilant about stuff like that. Some men would sleep on the floor in these comedian houses, like 4 of them. We don't have the same safety, or we certainly didn't at that time. A lot of predatory behavior was probably going unregulated at that time where it wouldn't now. It's kind of a different world. But also, I think it was, and I'm from a place of privilege because, again, by then, I didn't really care what anyone thought of me. By then, I was pretty impervious to criticism. Impoverished, I was going to say that too. And impoverished and impervious to criticism. But I think there are women who did feel quite knocked back when a booker would say, oh no, we have enough women, we don't need a woman, or like women aren't funny, or you'd be brought on stage by a compere who would apologize for your gender before, like, oh sorry, the next act is a woman. That would happen a lot.
Oh my God.
I think Jo Brand went on in between exotic dancers in the men's working clubs when she started. Yeah. And like it is a different ball game now. I think I'm really positive and peaceful about the fact that it's changed.
Yeah.
And I feel badly complaining because I had a pretty easy time of it compared to some.
Why?
I don't know. I think looking back, because I'm confronted by old videos now, because I've been on television in this country since 2012. I think, from a third party perspective, I'm like, she's quite different. I think being different gets people's attention. Being young and pretty probably at that time really helped as well. I see her and I go, oh, she's quite young and pretty and says these things and like is like puts the whole thing off balance. I was different.
Yes.
Yeah. I value that. I think, oh yeah, you'd be stupid not to think that had something to do with it.
Were you not told, like, don't look so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Not
was
on
that about?
television. Television loves looking good. But in the clubs, there were certainly bookers and other, comedians, mostly male. I mean, exclusively male comedians.
Yes.
Who would be like, oh, you don't want to dress like that. Because I thought I was dressing respectfully for the audience. I thought they're paying to come to a comedy night. And I think you should be the best dressed person there. And for me, I can't wear a tuxedo or, I would just dress up. And I liked hair and makeup and glam, and I had those values. And then bookers would be like, you don't want to dress like that because the men will be distracted by you and the women will hate you. I was like, what? And that was such a foreign, coming from Hooters, where we were very celebratory of each other and it wasn't catty or jealous. I was like, what do you mean women will hate me? Which never turned out to be true. Even now, there will be women who are brought in kind of accidentally. It's like Trojan horse where they go, oh, I really like that top. I think what color lipstick did you have on that show? I like that. That's sparkly. And they're kind of brought into comedy because they think you're wearing something nice. Like, I don't know. I don't care who comes in and why. I think people are very complimentary of like glam. They like it. And the boys are doing it now too. Like Joel Dommett on your hit show.
Yes.
He looks good.
Yes, and I just think it's so fascinating. Who is it that is having a go at women for wanting to look good? Because it a bit like I was saying, half nun, half wild child. It's like it is possible to be half feminist, half trad wife in a kind of funny sort of way. Like I want to. Well, it's almost at odds with itself, that statement. But I know plenty of women who absolutely 100% agree with equal rights and equal gender, close the gender gap and that how important that is. But at the same time, enjoy dressing feminine, looking feminine, owning their femininity, which is sometimes seen as pandering to the opposite sex, but actually lots of women do it for themselves. I mean, you've talked about like wanting to take care of yourself. I'm assuming like why do you want to look nice?
I think that there are men and women who have internalized misogyny. So many women have internalized misogyny. And I think they can be forgiven for that because we've all had to navigate the same world. And there are huge systems in place to deliver that messaging. Even if you still look at pop stars, they look like children. It's not a coincidence that both Sabrina Carpenter and Ariana Grande look like they're 11 years old in lingerie.
I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, they're both very talented, and I don't want to diminish.
Yeah,
they're
really talented. But
like, I do think Hollywood is gross now in many ways. I look back at some of the movies and the influences that I had. And then it makes sense that we all buy into this beauty industry so much, and this toxicity propels, somebody somewhere to get very rich and also to keep us slightly underfoot. I think it works for people. I think patriarchy works for men. They benefit from it, whether or not they're active participants. They benefit. So I think everybody subscribes to this system. And I don't blame any woman for whatever her level of participation is in it. But I think it's a mistake to assume that when we dress well or we want to get Botox or filler or plastic surgery or breast implants or dye our hair or have like a unique, authentic fashion presence, that is anything to do with the male gaze.
Yes.
And I think that system, patriarchy, whoever is deploying it at that time, loves to think of everything in the male gaze. Like, well, a man won't marry you if you do. Oh, well, you're trying too hard to bring that. Oh, well, I'm not actually thinking about you or your feelings or your appraisal of what I'm doing at all. And men will always say, oh, we don't like lip filler. We prefer, I'm not doing it for you.
Yeah, don't care.
I don't care what you like. I don't care if you live or die. So
I'm a great passionate advocate of beautiful lingerie. I never wear a neutral bar and a sensible pan ever.
I would hate to show you my underwear right
Well,
now.
but you, like, this is, I think, where I'm at now. Like, you do whatever you want to do, but this makes me feel good about myself. And
Yeah.
what I love is saying, I love this about you, and I love the fact that you do that, and I love the fact that you don't want to wear fancy pants underwear.
I might want to.
You might want to after you've had this baby.
I do want to. I think.
Good. Well done.
And I also want to go on Ozempic if that's what it takes next year. And I want to have a facelift because people are doing that younger. And there's nothing I can do about my nose. A lot of people think I've had a nose job. I haven't. I wouldn't choose this nose. This bit is too long, but I don't think that I can have a lip lift just because my nose is so like Dr. Seuss. But I don't want to do that for men.
But again, no, you do it
because
for
I'm
you.
not a feminist.
Yes.
I just think it's fun. I think I have a healthy attitude toward all those things, which is why I'm happy to be joked about. Like, you know, oh, Katherine Ryan's had all this plastic surgery. I actually haven't had any plastic surgery on my face. I even haven't had Botox and fillers for a long time because I've been so pregnant. But because of pregnancy, my face is like big and then small and then big and then small and then big and then small. So I will do something about it. And when I do, I'll tell everyone that I did it.
Yes.
Not because I'm proud of it or ashamed, but because I can exist in the middle and just be honest about like, yeah, I wanted to do that. And do I hate my face every day I walk past, you know, shop windows and think, oh God, I'm a monster? No. But I'm an entertainer. And I think if people are going to come see me on tour, they deserve the best, most glamorous version of me because it's part of showbiz. And why wouldn't I give it to them? And also, the last thing I'll say about surgery, unless you have any follow-up questions, is that my mom is 65. And I gifted her a facelift for her birthday last year, which is a risky gift if someone doesn't want it. But she did want it. I know my mom well enough to know she'd want it. And she speaks very openly. Her attitude is the same as mine. Because I recognized that first of all, it's harder, I think, for a woman born in 1960 who's like traditionally so beautiful to age because of the values that were instilled for that generation. But also, my mom knew that beauty is a depreciating asset. And she would say things like people go, oh, happy birthday, you're 1 year older. And my mom would go, well, I suppose it's better than the alternative. Like she knows that it's better to be old than to die. But in a way, the joke is, for that generation, not much better.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you? How dare you age and become invisible? And I noticed how lonely it felt for my mother not to be missing out on that gaze and that constant, like very toxic white van attention that she received all her life. But lonely, I think, for certain women to look in the mirror and not recognize their best friend. And that is just yourself, your own countenance that you've gotten to know throughout all these years. Looking back at you, it changes so much. And I think that's why people have big life events like a loss or a divorce or something where they get a little bit older and they're not trying to impress, you know, Colin from accounts or anyone online. It's just, it's a return to something to go, oh yeah, there she is. And to see her own face in the mirror again. And my mom looks great and she loves it.
So it's just fascinating, though, how anti any kind of surgery society seems to be, and how insistent they are on shaming people, who have it, and it makes it very hard for other women to do that.
Yeah.
And it's sad because you've seen how it made your mum feel.
Yeah, she loved it.
Yeah.
And she would have been fine without it.
Yes.
But it was like a fun thing. And I think when you talk about having a facelift, for example, you remove the shame because what are people going to say about you? Like, yeah, I did.
Yeah. I mean, that is another thing I think about getting older, that it is easier to just go, yeah, I did.
But equally, I really admire the women who don't. if you feel like your new
But
face,
nobody should have to
no,
tell anybody anything.
they
if they don't
shouldn't
want to.
have to. But I think if you do take the step to have like a facelift, it depends on who you are. If you're me, and I'm very open about everything, if I were to do that and then deny it, I think that would not be authentic to me. And then also it might create a space where women who felt as though I was always honest with them were like, oh, well, how come my jawline isn't doing that after 4 kids? And maybe if I use that cream,
Yes, exactly.
oh, there's someone in particular who winds me up
Yeah.
selling this neck cream. Yeah, right. Yeah, right, honey. Before and after. No.
You know.
You can have creams, lovely. We need to moisturize. We need SPF. Vitamin A is helpful. But to show me some of these wild transformations,
I think,
be honest.
one more big thing I really would like to talk to you about, which I am fascinated by parenting and how it affects our children. And I loved learning a bit about your parenting style and how that is shaping your kids' futures. So could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I really believe in the early foundations of laying down a regulated central nervous system.
Yes.
And I think that I'm good. And I think that so many adults of our generation are very sadly mentally ill and they have attachment issues.
Yeah.
And I don't blame anyone for that. It was a very different parenting style when we were all born. And a lot of us were left to cry. And it's a necessity for some people. I always say the caveat is I think parents, but a mother specifically, should prioritize her own mental health. We don't need anybody losing it. So if your child is in a safe place and they need to cry it out so that you don't walk it out into the street, then that's what you need to do. Fine. But if you can cope with it, I do believe in responding to small babies' needs immediately, carrying them as much as you can, having them with you as much as you can, co-sleeping with them, potty training them really young because it gives them like agency and
That's amazing.
autonomy. But it makes people really angry. Like any clip or any time that I speak about parenting, and I think it is an extension of women's just anxiety and then projection of shaming each other for things. I'm really not trying to shame anyone. I just want people to think outside the box and do things that work for their family. And
one of the things I've loved listening to you talk about is the potty training.
yeah,
I mean, that is amazing.
it makes people so mad.
Why? Why would it make someone mad?
So I say that you should start potty training babies from almost birth.
Yeah.
And when I say potty training, I think it gets lost in translation.
Yes.
People go, what do you mean? And they get mad right away because they feel like, well, because I've got a 3-year-old in a nappy, you're saying that's my fault and I'm negligent and I don't love my child.
That's not what you're saying at all.
Kind of correct. No. 4. Look, I just think there's a miscommunication somewhere along the way. Is I think that well-meaning, very loving parents don't realize that when you put a nappy on a child and you can see that child going to the loo in the nappy, you know they're going and they use the nappy all the time to go to the loo, you are training them
To use a nappy.
to use a nappy. And if you are the kind of parent who has a nappy as a fail-safe, especially for a newborn, I mean, a newborn doesn't know they're alive. But you take the nappy off at regular intervals and you hold them on a potty, you're training them to go in the potty. So whatever you do with your kids, whether you lavish them with attention or you ignore them, whether you potty train them or you don't, whatever you do, you're training them just by your behavior, whatever you choose, or lack of behavior. So all I do is I remove the nappy as often as I can from about 3 months. And I'm telling you, I thought my first daughter was a genius. She's
How
my
old
favorite.
was she when she was...
Fully out of nappies by like, honestly, 11 months, like before 1. They've all been out of nappies fully by 1. But I understand that there are limitations. People have to go to work. Kids are in a daycare setting or childcare. I get that. But the reaction that I get is people going, well, you're privileged and you have chefs and nannies. And well, I don't. I mean, I do. I have a nanny and I have a cleaner that comes twice a week. But there's no chef. Oh, that's Bobby. Yeah, okay. So I do have all that. But I potty trained Violet as a very financially insecure, single mom. I was taking her to work with me a lot. I was looking at her a lot. And I noticed cues from about, like, as soon as they start solid food, you can see when a baby needs to do a poo. But by then, they have all these other skills. They're very self-aware and they're stubborn and they can walk and they have already been trained to go in a nappy.
Yes.
But if you just interrupt that really young, they never think
Let's take it off.
they always, and it's just easy. They just want to be clean. So many other countries do it. They did it for generations before we had nappies. It can be done. You don't have to do it. And for me, when I was very young and had Violet, I was not very young, 24, 25.
Still quite young, really, isn't it?
Quite young. I just put myself in her shoes. I was like, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where a stranger was ever changing my nappy. I wouldn't want to have a dirty nappy at all. So I just trained her. I didn't know about elimination communication, which is what it's called and is practiced by so many people.
I feel like a parenting book.
I know, but like it just makes people so angry.
But it would help so many people.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
that's all it is. Like I don't think there's much more to say than that. So I don't think I could parlay it into chapters because people do.
well, let's talk about that. I bet you could.
For the right
going to take you out
cash,
for lunch.
Davina, you're right.
And
It needs to be a book. It needs to be so many chapters and a signing fee. Yeah.
So I want to talk TV with you because obviously you came over here, you were a comic, but like going into TV in comedy, again, when you did it, when you started, not that many women were on panels and things like that. What was that like? Because things like Have I Got News for You, to me, would scare the bejesus out of me. So what was it like for you?
It is an intimidating one because you have to know about the news and everything that's going on politically, and I definitely didn't. And to sit next to Paul Merton and Ian Hislop and have them so clever, and all their writers are so clever. But I really enjoyed the challenge, and I think early days before I did Have I Got News for You, the first panel show that I did was 8 out of 10 Cats.
Yeah, great.
And I really was so lucky to exist at a time when like that was a huge show and Sean Locke was on and it was just like so funny, but so intimidating. The first day I looked around and I was like, I will never be as funny as these people. It wasn't that they were men, but these people, I just won't be as funny as them. It was Hannibal Buress, Sean Locke, was it John Richardson, Stephen Mangan, and a boy from The Voice who was adorable. They like to have a celeb to mix it up, but he was funny too. And Jimmy. And then I thought, well, I can run or I can do it my way. And sometimes 8 out of 10 Cats would have subjects that I wasn't familiar with. I think FIFA.
Yes.
Or like the Greek financial crisis was a topic at one point. And I just did it in my own way. I said, Greece and Kerry Katona have a lot in common. They both get gas from Turkey. And they both, like, it was such a stupid joke. But like, I just found my little rhythm in any subject matter. And then people learned to accept me as like, oh, she's going to say it in her own way. And it will be about celebrity culture somehow. And it'll be a bit vapid, but it'll be kind of knowing and kind of caustic. And they didn't expect like a really cerebral political takedown from me. They were happy to have me talk about, like Cheryl Cole.
But I think that's what's so clever about you, that you, at each stage of your life, it's almost like every single job that you've done, every move that you've made, every man that you've been with, it's like, who am I? You are constantly saying, be true to yourself. I think what we love about you is a real authenticity. It doesn't matter, you might hate you. Somebody might go, I can't do parenting.
Yeah.
But they know it's true.
That's true.
They know it's what you do. So you can't go anywhere with the truth.
Yeah.
Except back to the truth. Like,
that's what they say. You never have to remember what you said if you just are authentically yourself all the time. I think authenticity is really the only thing that works in comedy uniquely. I think you can be, well, obviously an actor and be anyone, be really inauthentic because you're a chameleon. You can be a presenter or a model or like a pop star. But if you're a comedian, I think if people don't believe you, that's the difference between, so there are lots of people who will come and see me on tour And I feel so lucky and so surprised. Every time I tour, I'm like, oh, people are motivated to like get a babysitter, pay for parking, go to dinner. They'll come and see me. They care what I have to say. And I think that's the difference. If you are a good comedian and you can tell jokes, but you're just kind of doing an impression of a comedian. I see these people in the clubs sometimes. I'm like, well, they're really, really funny, but nobody cares.
Because it's not hitting.
It's not.
Because it's not real.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to TV because you did this amazing sitcom. Did you write Duchess?
I did write the Duchess, yeah.
That it was really good, but it was one series.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? It's so, bring it back. There's space for it.
Yeah.
Or bring back
version of
a
it.
version of
Yeah.
it.
I wrote the Duchess when I was single, and I loved being single. And I was confronting being on the wrong side of 35, like fertility-wise. And I thought, well, what will I do about growing my family? Because this is when women start to hear those voices from doctors or whomever about egg freezing, or about, you know, many now professional women at 35 have no children. Maybe they don't want children. Maybe they do, but they have to decide their biological legacy right then and there. So I thought, wouldn't it be funny to have, I was a big fan of Kenny Powers at the time. It's a character from a show called Eastbound and Down, and I really recommend it. He's like angry all the time, but it's funny when he's angry.
Yes.
I thought I don't see a female character like that who swears and who's like angry. I thought it would be funny to have an unlikable female lead. Like Tony Soprano wasn't a good guy, but he was lovable. Everybody liked him.
But I thought that was exactly what you gave us.
I thought it was cool.
It was brilliant. But I feel like everybody should go and watch it now. And it would be more relevant now.
Well, actually,
you were way ahead of your time.
That's kind of you to say.
Yeah.
I think people really, the feedback I got, they didn't like how she was. She put people off. A villain.
But I think
a female villain.
I think women really loved
Oh, good.
her.
And also, pointedly, I wanted her to be a single mother who had money for no reason. Because I see women portrayed, they have white wine and they're crying and they live in squalor and they're like, I'm a single mom. And I wanted this woman to just have money. Why? Why does she have money? What does she do? Pottery. People were so angry about that. Really well-meaning men would reach out and be like, but why does she have a flat? And I'd be like, why? You don't need to know why. Why does Ricky Gervais' character in Afterlife, who works for a small print magazine, live in a $5 million house in Hampstead? And his cheeky response to that is, oh, well, it was his wife's house. Okay, Ricky, but you didn't have to explain that at all in the series. We just let these men on television, in films, in rom-coms, like even when the Duchess character, she got a boyfriend who was a dentist.
Yes.
They are not remunerated fairly in this country. She met a dentist. When they went house shopping, Locations found us a house. I was like, how come he's allowed this house? This dentist, when we went shopping for a house, it was like a $4 million house in Kensal Rise. I was like, ugh. But people got cross that a single mother had designer clothes.
God, it's really interesting, isn't it?
Loads of people would ask me that. Why? Why does she have money though? And I went, so that you ask me that question, like just so that you're angry about it.
Yes. God, I think that's fascinating.
It was so weird. They got so weird about it. Nice man. How dare she?
Fascinating.
Why does she have money? She's a pottery artist and a single mom.
She's great.
To piss you off.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe she made good investments when she was dating the guy in the boy band.
I mean, let's just talk about your current project, because The Real Housewives, mega.
Speaking of what?
Mega.
Yeah.
And you are the perfect person to do this. It's like a reunion, right? Where they're all kind of coming together to chat about what's going on. One's already gone out. We've got the next one next week.
Yes.
So what's that been like, and what are they like, and what's your experience of them? What have you learnt? Insights?
Well, for a start, we were not anticipating 2 parts. It was meant to be a 1-part reunion, and it just was very good. Yeah. These are interesting women to me because the Real Housewives franchise is about a group of friends who ultimately have a lot of ups and downs and a lot of drama and explosive moments, and they live this lavish lifestyle that so many of us are not used to seeing. You could be very wealthy and still not be used to the level of like castles and helicopters and jewels that you see on the London Real Housewives. I mean, it's a different echelon. But at the end of the day, they have to come back together as friends. And that's what the reunion is about, to settle scores, to like show all the receipts, to work through all this trauma and leave as a group of girlfriends so that we can move on to next series. And they watch the episodes along with the rest of us. So they didn't get advance screening. So everything's fresh to them. They would watch it as it came out week by week on Hey You. And so there's a lot still brewing with them that they really wanted to get out. And I love it because Real Housewives of London passes the bedshell test. They're not talking about men, like hardly ever. This is women, most of whom are over 40, over 50. Where do we see a cast of all women of that age group on like primetime television not talking about their relationships with men? They talk about all kinds of very interesting things, but not so much men. And they're so relatable in the sense that I found they've got different traumas. They've all got their own different attachment issues. They've all suffered. They've all struggled. Many of them live in a perceived shadow of perhaps their partner's wealth or achievements, and that's difficult to navigate. Like, I really loved digging into like what was going on with these housewives. But on the surface, it's like fighting and fun as well. They do fight. They can fight.
I love your face. Like,
I mean,
I was going to ask you actually as a final question, about what you would like your legacy to be. So, I mean, you're not going anywhere for decades, obviously, but
am I?
In the future, have you ever thought, or how would you like people to remember you? Like, who do you want to be? Because you're somebody who assesses yourself so often. Like, where are you heading?
Well, I think we're so lucky to have these moments of our lives captured forever on film or radio or podcasts, or because our descendants will be able to find a log of our lives for the first time ever. Women would lose their names. Women would lose their history. When I met Bobby on Who Do You Think You Are, it's very difficult to trace the maternal lineage at all because these women just fade into the background until us. And especially if you're on television or doing something like that. So I like to think that I'll be remembered as a witch, like a real problematic badass. I hope to get poorly behaved, like in my older years, get just worse and worse. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think you as well, Davina, are a real like turning point. And there's an indigenous, what's the word? Not psychology. There's an indigenous, you can tell I'm pregnant sometimes when I can't find words.
A belief.
Philosophy. There's an indigenous philosophy that talks about ancestral pain, ancestral trauma, and it says that everything that you do affects 7 generations behind you as well as 7 generations ahead of you. And I love that because I think you and I are real like path movers, like changers of like whatever happened before.
Yes.
Women of this age now have this incredible opportunity to just shift it any way we want. And I'm the first woman in my family who purchased a house without a man. And I'm very problematic. And the women before me were too, but they didn't get credit for it. And we recently lost Diane Keaton.
Oh.
And I see videos of her just like little things that she did that weren't problematic. Even the pantsuits are provocative.
Were so good. A hat. Being a peacock. See me. So provocative.
And her sitting on the edge of a Ralph Lauren runway. Is the clip I saw on my way here, and she's greeting all the models as though she knows them personally, and she's going, well done. And that's what I do. I was in Vegas, and there was a young woman dancing on a bar, almost nude, but not. And I went, she's really encouraging. Like, and I thought, who am I? That's the kind of older woman I want to be.
Yes.
I don't want to shame anyone. I don't want to bother anyone. I want to like wave at models, be like, And women can do that. Men can't shut out their windows anymore, so it's down to us
Yes.
to be like, love your outfit, you're killing it, babe, go on, diva, great hair. Like, that's what I just want to be a problem. I want to be remembered for that. A prick.
And with that,
Yeah.
we will end with a massive, raucous round of applause.